Hi, I'm Annemarie with Speak Confident English, and welcome to your Confident English Wednesday lesson. Over the past couple of months, I've started a series on lessons focused on describing people, their personalities, characteristics, and traits. And in the first lesson, we used some stories to help us highlight some key language. Then in the second lesson, we focused on ways to describe people in a very positive way, the things that you love about someone. So it's time to focus on those not so positive traits, those things that we don't like about people so much. Sometimes it's just true about life. There are people that we don't like, or there's things that we don't like about people. So how do you talk about those in English? That is what we're going to focus on today. In the online lesson, I do have a very long list of examples, vocabulary words, idioms that we use to describe people. But today in the video, I'm going to focus on a few of my favorites or words that I know that might be very new or even challenging in English. So number one is the word aloof. If someone is aloof, it generally means not very friendly. They're very distant and cold. They don't feel engaged with other people. They are aloof. Number two, an armchair critic. I love this expression. It means a chair where there are arms. You can rest your arms on the chair, and someone who just sits there and gives criticism that really isn't helpful. Imagine that you're at a business meeting, and every time you have a business meeting, the same person is always criticizing every idea, but they never provide their own ideas or solutions. He or she might be an armchair critic. Number three, a busybody. Do you have any idea what this one might mean? We use this to describe a person who is always getting involved or always wants to get involved in someone else's life. They're always trying to get information and try to interfere with other people's lives. They want to know a little bit or a lot about everyone. So maybe you have someone in your office who's a bit of a busybody. Clingy. This one is a way to describe someone who always wants to be with you. They never leave you alone. They need you all the time. And honestly, this can get a little annoying if someone needs you all the time. They are clingy. Now, I just used the word annoying, and that makes me think of another great word that has a similar meaning to being annoying: obnoxious. Someone who is obnoxious is just annoying. They drive you crazy. Now, someone who is obnoxious could also be a wet blanket or a killjoy. These are people who unfortunately steal all the fun. Every time you have a great idea, or if you're planning some fun party, a wet blanket or a killjoy always steals the fun. They always find a reason why you can't or you shouldn't, or they just complain all the time, and it's not fun to be around them, which means they could also be annoying and obnoxious. A know-it-all. A know-it-all is someone who thinks they know it all. They know everything, and of course that's not true, but they like to pretend or make you think that they know everything. And again, this can be frustrating or annoying. Picky. Do you know anyone who is picky? This is used to describe someone who is really hard to please. Imagine that you have a friend that you really love to spend time with. You enjoy conversation, but you never go to a restaurant with her because every time you try to go to a restaurant, nothing ever satisfies her. Or if you go to an Italian restaurant, she can't eat pasta. If you go to another restaurant, she can't eat this or that or that. She's maybe a little bit picky. Here's another one of my favorites, to be full of hot air. If I say, oh, he's just full of hot air, it means that someone just talks and talks and talks, but there's no value, there's no substance, there's nothing meaningful. It's just a bunch of words. They're full of hot air. The next one is grumpy. And I have to admit, I am a bit grumpy in the mornings before I have my coffee. I wake up very sleepy and tired. I don't want to talk to anyone until I've had my cup of coffee. Grumpy can mean a little bit bad-tempered or to be in a bad mood. You're moody. And our last one for our video lesson today is materialistic. Materialistic. This is used to describe someone who is focused or even obsessed with possessions and money. All they think about is getting more money so they can buy more things. They are focused on material goods. They are materialistic. And now you have a big new list of idioms and useful vocabulary to, yes, talk a bit negatively about others. As I mentioned, in the online lesson, you will find many more examples so that you can really expand your vocabulary this week. And I do want you to try practicing, but this is a sticky topic. I would love for you to practice using some of these expressions to describe some of the more negative traits of people that you know. But because we're focused on the negative, I do want you to keep it private. So no names. Just describe someone that you know. You can get more information about the challenge question for this week in the online lesson. And of course, the best place to share with me, get feedback from me, and learn from others in the Confident English community is in the comment section just below the video. So check out the lesson, review the additional vocabulary, take a look at the challenge question, and share with me a description of someone that you know, with no names, with some negative characteristics. And with that, have a fantastic week. I'll see you next Wednesday for your Confident English Wednesday lesson.